Hello and welcome to another live from Airstrip 1 with me, Billy Bonds, and we have Mackie as well with us. Hello, Mackie.
Yes, y'all. Yes.
But also we have Brian as well. Mr. Rupper Ducky is with us again, our American friend. So hello, Brian. Give him a
Yeah, excited
wave.
for this, man. You guys are some of my favorite podcast people to speak with because it's not just the same redundant kind of, oh, do this, do that. I like talking outside the normal worldview with you boys.
He's saying he likes crazy people, basically, so he fits in here with
Absolutely.
us. Yes, get in. So, hello to everyone out there in chat as well, all you early viewers. Firetop and Mad Dog out there, I can see in chat straight away, giving the waves. So, this week, we're talking about the freedom of speech. And, well, what is free speech, really, I suppose, it's hard to say because we're living in like Airstrip 1 more and more each week, it seems, doesn't it, Mackie, over
Man,
here?
doesn't it? See, and it fucking getting scary, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think how totalitarian everything's getting, and it just sounds like hyperbole when you say it. You know, like we're just exaggerating things, but things are getting fucking crazy. In between last month's show and this month's show, we've just seen so much shit happening, including this one guy made a complaint about his kid's school in a WhatsApp group and had his door kicked off at 2 a.m. by police, and he was dragged out of bed and arrested for
Yeah.
saying something bad about his kid's school. That's fucked. And then we also had, what was the other one?
You were the Christian woman you on about?
No, the guy who got arrested for saying that he doesn't like the Palestinian flag.
Oh
You
right,
see that
yeah,
one as well?
yep, that one as well. Yep, there's loads
Wow.
of people out there with one of the statistics. The Times investigation, they done a survey and it revealed that over 3,400 people in the UK were arrested in one single year for online comments, which is averaging 30 people per day.
Wow.
You would not you'd expect them statistics out of North Korea or
Or
supposedly
Russia or
Russia or
China,
China.
yeah.
Yeah. These are UK statistics done by by newspaper, like an investigative newspaper. The Times are not exactly a small, unrecognised newspaper, are they? This is the Times and also the Sunday Times. I've been quoted in both actually. No, but still, that's like it's mental, isn't it? It's what 3,000 for 30 a day in the UK. What do you think of that, Brian? Do you think you'd hear statistics like that coming out of the United Kingdom?
No, and I do know that the like online rhetoric, especially at least here in America, from middle-aged or middle-aged like teenage kids, so they're not the more like the 12, the 13, the 14, the 15-year-olds have started to, I guess, say a bunch of wild ass shit to each other. And the police are supposedly cracking down as kind of like a scared straight thing.
Mm.
So, so I that one made me wonder if that's what the UK is after, or are they technically just going after anybody that's saying stuff? Because that is
No, it's mostly targeted and
exciting.
directed over specific people and specific comments, but it is people are ended up in prison and stuff like that. So and being restricted from their families, and when others have been let out of prison, it's almost like a tier, two to more four tier sort of draconian policing. Sort of, we do have two-tier policing in the UK now. It's sort of
Yeah,
almost
at
recognised. It's
least two tiers. At least two
yeah, at
tiers.
least, and
Because there's that law that came out recently as well, where I don't know, you might know more about it, Billy, but essentially, if you're white British, then you're looking at having
oh yeah,
harsher prison sentences than
that
religious
was
minorities.
that was sentencing.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was about how long you get it. They've
So for the same
hopefully
crime,
sorted that out basically, but yeah, all that
maybe,
was by
yeah.
the sentencing council. But again, this is all coming out like out of the Home Office and recommendations from actual people the government meant to listen to, and it's like what the actual fuck is going on.
Mm-hmm.
Also, as
Mm-hmm.
well, recently you've had a Christian woman who went through the courts, and basically she got done, and because she got offered, she held up a sign saying "Here to talk if you want" outside abortion clinics to help So if you wanted to talk to someone, she was there to say, talk to me. I can talk you through it if you want some counselling before you go ahead with what you're doing, because it's quite a big step in their life, obviously, isn't it? So because of that, she got done. Right, and it's like you're not allowed to pray near these abortion clinics. It's like we're not a Christian country anymore, almost, with some of the stuff that's coming out. It's like we've wiped sort of religion completely from our sort of laws, if you know what I mean. And it's been influenced by just dictatorship now. It's like with the new we had new internet laws coming, the internet safety bill type shit, and that's just again just people who are saying the wrong stuff are getting done. Everyone else seems to be doing what they want, but it's
and this is the scary thing as well, because in this online safety bill, I don't know if you heard of this, Brian, but essentially the rule is it's been left so vague that you can pretty much be arrested for saying anything online. If you say something that can be deemed as offensive by somebody else, you can be arrested in the UK for things you say online. And I'm not like making it up and shit. I'm not trying to be, that's the rule. If you say something that can be deemed as offensive by somebody else on the internet, you can be arrested. And people are looking at 2 years in prison for this kind of shit, for saying something that somebody found offensive on the internet. Now, offensive,
even if it's taken out of context and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. If somebody has found it offensive, and not just that, not just a person could be sent to prison for 2 years for it, but say, for example, somebody said something on Google's platform that can be deemed offensive by somebody in the UK, then they can, I think it's 18 million fine or 10% of their global revenue, whichever one's greater. And Google pulling 300 billion a year. So if the UK government was to fine Google or Alphabet, the whole company altogether, if they were to fine them 10% of their global revenue, that's $30 billion, man. But because some random person said something that could be deemed as offensive by somebody online. That's fucking crazy. It's like, it sounds like I'm chatting shit. And maybe I am, man. Because, sometimes I even question myself, like, am I correct with this? Because I've heard loads of people say this. I'm just reiterating what I've heard on the internet, and like I've looked into this shit, and it seems to be true. But it's so dark and it's so dystopian. It's like, is it real? Is it really this bad now? I don't know, man. What do you think, Billy? Is it that fucked? Am I getting that right? Is it correct?
You are that right, and it is that fucked, basically. Yeah, it is, like as Grumper says, it's 1984. It sounds like and feels like it here now. Like I said, it does feel like we are actually living in and coming live from Airstrip 1. It's like,
but it feels like V for Vendetta. It feels more like the V for Vendetta universe rather than 1984 right now. I think that might change in the future, but I think at some point we're going to be heading into that whole draconian world of V for Vendetta, man.
Yeah, it's getting more deeper into that sort of side of things, isn't it? Really, as I would say each year, it's more each week passes now, isn't it?
Yeah, it's fast, isn't it? It's just all the time something new.
Yeah, it's hard.
What do you think of this, Brian? Does it just sound fucking crazy to you coming from the USA?
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, is more of the woke kind of stuff still lingering in the UK? Because a lot of that it's almost like someone flipped a switch in America, and most of that is already gone.
Somebody did.
But the UK, but no one in the UK is saying, like, we'll see how things have shifted over there. Maybe we should start to use a little more common sense on some of these things.
There's a few people bringing up these points, and it's coming out more and more, but they're obviously being shut down by the mainstream media and not saying nothing.
They're all being accused of sex crimes and all of that shit, because that's what they're getting with nowadays. Are we speaking against the narrative? Yeah. Get somebody to say that they did something to him fucking 20 years ago. That's just my opinion, everybody. This is my opinion.
Well, it isn't just that.
Did y'all see Terrence Howard was on PBD podcast? You guys ever check that out?
I haven't seen it yet. I know he's been on there. We were just talking to this about this with Billy before we started the show here. I haven't seen it. Is it good? Have you seen it?
It is. It's really good. And I thought part of it was the way that Terrence Howard kind of explained, or he's a very good like storyteller, I guess. And he was saying when he was hanging out with Diddy, he could never figure out like why Diddy was being the way he was, because he'd say like, "Yo, let's hang out, let's do music," but yet they would never really work on music and stuff. And so
Mm.
Terrence, I guess, being maybe a little naive or whatever, eventually asked his assistant, like, "Yo, like, what do you think's going on over here? Like, why do we keep coming over to Diddy's mansions?" And he's just kind of like, just being weird. And he said the assistant goes, "I think he's trying to fuck you." And then once that happened, Terrence Howard said that like everything shifted. It like made sense on why the parties exist and all of the things. It was a very eye-opening thing to see somebody put that together, I guess, after just a couple visits. Because I would think if you're a young actor in Hollywood, no matter your race or your religion, back in those days, if you were invited to a Diddy party, you felt like you were about to become someone or you already
Mm.
were someone.
Yeah, it's your way in the door to that business, isn't it? And to that stardom and fame and money and
Make sure you toe the
success.
line, man. Make sure
Yeah,
you don't step out of line, you know?
isn't it?
He talks about he goes pretty in depth, to be honest, on that kind of podcast about like men taking other men's manhood. And you could see PBD, whatever that guy's, the Paul, what is his name?
Patrick
Patrick
Bet
something.
David.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's almost taken back by like what he's saying, but he lets him speak and lets him like kind of talk about it. And
Hmm.
then they ask him, "Do you think that's what happened to Justin Bieber?" And he almost like looks at him like, "Yeah, I mean, look at the kid.
Of course, the
Damn.
fucking course.
Of course something happened to him, man. No grown man. He's a man now, right? I think he's in his
Yeah, he's like near
30s.
40 or something. He's
He's
getting
up
up there in
there.
the ages, you know? And that's
And
shocking to see because I thought he only released that tune, that fucking Baby O tune, you know, the one. What's it called? Yeah, you know what I mean. You know,
But
his
also,
first
thinking
tune.
it's literally
It only feels like 10
baby.
years ago, you know? But God damn, time flies so quick.
but it also ties with the freedom of speech because a lot of people in the music industry and all of that as well are just sort of seem to be having their mouths tied as well. Gag. Everyone
Th-
seems to be gagged, and everyone's got restraining orders and gagging orders, non-disclosure orders, and agreements and all sorts of things. It just seems to be a standard part of the business. Is like sign this non-disclosure order, so when you see all the rape and torture, you can't talk about it. It's
But I don't
like
know. I think to some extent, though, that's just part and parcel of being in the industry. I think this, and they're in a way they're kind of I don't know, volunteers towards it. They know
it's
what
their
the fuck the
secret
deal
club.
is.
The
Yeah,
secret
yeah,
club.
they
Yeah,
know what the
exactly.
deal is. And they
What's
might
not so
regret it
secret.
later in life and shit, but still, they participated in this shit willingly. But what we need to be afraid of is the government creating stupid laws to prevent us from saying shit. That's the scary thing about freedom of speech, and that's what I think is happening here in the UK. All these laws that they're passing, they're just forcing us essentially to self-censor ourselves and don't say anything that could essentially speak out against whichever narrative they're trying to push. Otherwise, you're going to get in the shit. So it seems as if there's less and less people following that. Let's say, for example, the woke agenda, right? As you say, Brian, the woke agenda is still quite strong here in the UK, and it's because partially that we're not allowed to say anything about it. And there's loads of people out there who do want to say something, but they know that they can get prosecuted now, so they just keep their mouth shut and they don't say anything. And then in the meantime, what happens then is because their voices are not being heard, the people who do go along with the woke agenda, they think that they are 100% correct because nobody ever challenges what they think, because you're not allowed to. You get the odd person, you'll get 5% of people coming out and saying things when it's going to be more over 50% of people who want to come out and say something. They just don't because they're too afraid to. And it ties in so much as well. Like that's just on the internet. But say for example, you work in an office with 20 people, and if you speak out against the woke narrative, let's just keep calling it that, right? Then you stand a chance of being fired. So you toe the line and you just like, oh yeah, that fencer who kneeled because she didn't want to fence against the trans person, then yeah, that was terrible. She shouldn't have done that. When in the back of your mind you're thinking, yeah, she's damn right. She should be kneeling. She shouldn't be getting involved in this bullshit. And more people need to do it. But if you say that, you're getting fired. So you just toe the line. Now there could be 5 people out of the 20 who think the same way you do, but they're also toeing the line. So it makes everybody toe the line involuntarily. You know what I mean? You see where I'm going with this random tangent I'm talking about here? But by self-censoring ourselves, we allow the people with the opposite perspective of us, regardless of what that perspective is, to just go ahead unchallenged as if they are 100% correct. And that's why they're trying to censor our speech so much, is just to make any resistance futile. You know what I mean? Yeah, sorry. I yield my time. I just sitting here chatting on a long one then. Apologies. But I need to explain my point, you know?
Brian, do you feel that the mainstream media in America suppress a lot of the speech as well? If you know what I mean, that they have a particular narrative they follow, and anything that doesn't fit that they hide and sweep under the carpet, because we get that constantly in the UK, especially from the BBC.
You're on mute, Brian.
Sorry, what'd you ask me? I'm not sure what happened there.
So do you think the mainstream media suppress some of the speech or the freedom of speech in America still, because they have over the past 4 years? Do you think it's changed recently because of the Trump coming in?
I do. I think after Elon Musk purchased Twitter, the view in America, the vibe in America felt totally different after or at least people that were Americans that were paying attention started to realize, were we in maybe the early days of Twitter and as things progressed with Twitter before Elon bought that, were we constantly arguing as a society with bots? Because it seems like that's kind of what was going on, is that there were these like accounts, and then they would say this outlandish shit. Where I grew up, you would say that's out of pocket, right? You're trying to get somebody you want to get a reaction out of them, especially in certain parts of where I grew up. If you can make another man emotional, that's like a checkmate in that kind of scenario, right? So
psychological, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a deep game. And so what you're kind of talking about is, I think, was psychological warfare using Twitter and a variety of other social media accounts. I just think it was more exposed when Elon took it and started to show the world that a lot of that stuff everything was so bloated. Like the labor, half those people weren't even really doing anything and making a ton of money. Like, what was that? What kind of company would really operate like that unless they were, kind of doing the hand of the government or something? It just,
they were
that
controlled.
never made sense. Right. Like why would any, especially American company, be just like burning through cash like that unless there was some reason for that? I mean, Amazon is now notoriously known for making their employees piss in bottles, because they're like, oh my God, if you have 3 minutes off of the clock, we lose X amount of money for Mr. Bezos. So those are the kind of things that I think have always kind of scared me, is the not being able to express yourself, or because everybody's cool with freedom of speech until somebody's saying something that you don't agree with.
No, I'm also cool with that, and that's how it has to be, isn't it? Like,
yeah, I mean, you gotta be, and people say some wild ass shit too. So it's like, okay, well, where do we draw the line on that? Because I do think if you're just saying like vile stuff, out of pocket stuff on purpose, to just try to get
incitement, sort of provoke a response, isn't it? You're provoking.
And it's done
someone
more of in like a psychological way, where it's planned, it's well funded. To me, that is also a war. Like, that's a crime against humanity type thing, because so many people believed in that woke culture there for a while. I mean, still to this day, there's people saying that, like,
that's more coercion though than freedom of speech. If you get what I mean, you're trying to coerce people in an underhand manner. So that's like a particular crime, if you get what I mean. So but the people can say what they want, but to be coerced to say things is where that person would be in trouble. The coercer, not the person saying something. If you get what I mean.
Before
unless
Elon
it's violence,
I saw most people did not speak their mind.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And so there was the freedom of speech part kind of went away automatically, just because Twitter seemed to be the law of the land for a while. And
you self-censor yourself at those points. Yeah.
Well, I know if you guys remember, I mean, they would just go after people. Like, if you had said something like 13 years ago when you were in college or something, they would just go after certain people that were celebrities or people in power, saying like, yo, we got to cancel this person.
Well, Joe Rogan got it, didn't he? He got all his history of using the N-word sort of thing. brought up and things like that. So people just drag up your history of everything you've said, basically, don't they? And then use it against you as a weapon.
Yeah, and went after you as like not only as a weapon, but just kind of openly saying like, okay, this is who we're canceling next. And everybody was for that until they started to see like, well, okay, well, where does this stop? Because I think that even scared even people or certain people on the far left of it could potentially be you next. And you see a lot of the people that kind of had those beliefs these last few years. I don't really see them coming out saying things anymore. No one really watches the news programs in America that promote that kind of stuff. They're, having to lay off a bunch of people. So the freedom of speech part of it has, in my opinion, is now shifted towards independent media, because now people can kind of just go on their own and say, I don't believe what these people are saying. Let me check this.
But to
this
some
part out."
extent, because on YouTube, always have to be careful what you say, because not only can your channel get shut down, but with the algorithms as well. If you say certain words, then the algorithm's just not going to show you off to anybody. You know what I mean? So you
Well, that
start
happened to
saying
us.
to yourself, yeah. This is why we're on a different channel. Compared to
Yeah.
our usual channel, we have this different channel, so we don't get fucking censored. Yeah, and 29 subscribers. It's not so bad if the channel gets shut down compared to thousands of subscribers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, for how much shit is on YouTube, I think it's kind of silly, but I get what you're saying.
Again,
There's
it's companies which are restricting our freedom of speech and our right to say what we feel. As long as we're not inciting actual violent acts and for people to be harmed, then really you should be able to say anything you want. As far as I'm concerned, that is what ultimate freedom of speech is. I don't care if I like what you're saying or not. You should have the right to say. Like, if a racist wants to be racist, then he should be free to be a racist. And then I know that he's a racist, and then to just pretty much ignore the fucker. You know what I mean?
Or have a discussion with him, see if you can change his mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like eventually you will. If there's like I say, if there's 100 racists and you talk to all of them individually, one of them you change your mind, and then there's 99 racists, and eventually that just whittled down to there's only one racist, and then he's got no friends, and then that won't matter. He becoming insignificant.
But if all of those are not allowed to speak, then they'll go and hide away in a shadowy corner and still have those same discussions, and they won't be checked by anybody.
Exactly,
left to fester and grow.
And that's with everyone and with every view. So it is the freedom of speech is the most important thing, and that's how we learn. That's how we got rocketry, because we were free to discuss things and argue, saying, "No, that's wrong. I think this and that," and then eventually we come up with ultimate weird shit. And then that's how science starts, isn't it? Really, it is with speech, and you having the freedom to say what you want to discuss, because. Well, if you can't discuss science, and especially with wokeism, how are you meant to be a doctor if you can't say what's male, what's female? It's like the ultimate the barrier of language. If you know what I mean, language is how we become descriptive and we learn more. And
Remember some
we've
bullshit
evolved.
there in the UK. You're speaking of that shit where the doctors have to ask men if they're pregnant.
Yeah,
just in case they're trans.
It's stupid. You can tell if someone's trans or not, can't you? Everyone really knows ultimately.
Most of the time.
Yeah, but especially if you're a doctor in that sort of situation, like it's going to be on their records anyway. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's just another stupid thing. It's just controlling our speech and our faults rather than our speech is our faults as well, which is what they're going for now, isn't it? That's why
crime and shit, man.
That's why we're going into Airstrip 1 and this draconian stuff, because it's stepped into thought crime as well. Like I said, with that woman who was standing there silently praying in her head and stuff, and it's like, that's a thought crime, man. It's like, where are we going in the UK? It's like, remember when you was
how
like,
far does it go?
In the 90s, we were making all these jokes about North Korea and China, and like, here we are. Like, oh, hang on, like we were making jokes about them like not so many years ago. Now that's actually us in that situation, and I don't know what to say really, to be honest. I like draw a blank. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
It's
like, I feel the same way. It's like you really don't know what the fuck's going on. It's like surely no, because it doesn't feel when you're out in the streets and you're just doing your thing. It doesn't feel like it's changed, but you know it has. You know what I mean? How far does it go? I was listening to a podcast today and we were talking about freedom of speech while I was jet washing my driveway. And I thought to myself, like, would I ever get locked up for something I say online? I don't say anything outlandish, really. I only ever express my opinion. And is it really that bad now where I would get arrested for expressing my opinion? Though I wouldn't be inciting violence on anybody or anything like that. I would just be expressing my opinion. And I could be arrested for that. I could be taken away from my family for that.
Because you type something online.
It just
just
surely not.
a bit of a troll. Do you know what an internet troll is? Don't you? Everyone knows what an internet troll is. Yeah, just for trolling someone as a joke, and no malice is meant. If you know what I mean, because some stuff is malice is something when you want to cause harm and inflict pain on someone, really, or you want them to lose their jobs and their livelihoods. Like, I don't want someone to lose their livelihood just because they have an opinion. I don't care what your opinion is. Like, if you do something within that job that affects others because of that opinion, then that does affect the job, isn't it? So it's completely different because it's affecting the job. But your private life and your job should be two completely different things altogether. It's like the universities; they're cancelling people because of what they said. Oh no, they said this, and they're talking about that subject which we don't agree with, so we're going to shut you down. And it's like, what really did happen to universities when there was the bastions of free speech? That's what they were really set up for, wasn't they? To freely speak and to learn as much as you can, to discuss and to theorise and then to come up with some sort of conclusion which is generally right, which is how we get science in the end, if you know what I mean? Which is how we eventually found that the planets are actually round, the stars do shine, how long it takes for the light to get to us. That's only happened because we've been able to freely discuss it. So how is that going to affect the future? Is there now free speech going to affect how we do science and then space discovery, our own health, food?
I think
where does it end?
I think it restricts everything without us even knowing that. The secondary effects of it, even the tertiary effects of it, it just we can't even comprehend what kind of damage it does when speech is censored in the way that the UK is trying to censor it right now.
It's
fucked, man.
Yeah, you don't know how far and deep it can really end up, and that's also
you can't
the scary
restrict your
part
thoughts.
Of it.
If you restrict your thoughts, it restricts the whole creative process. You're supposed to be able to be free, creative, let your mind explore, and go learn new things, go discuss things. And if the brain can't do that, then you just you're like putting a chain around it, and it's going to restrict itself in more ways than just speech, which is a shame. Man, creativity is going to be suppressed.
And that creates a lot of difficulties with the human race as well, because creativity is what got us getting us to Mars and got us the computers now, which we have, if you know what I mean. Thinking outside the box.
How would it work? Like if you go to like a Jimmy Carr comedy show, and he says something on stage because he's known for saying stuff to piss people off,
then he possibly be arrested for it then. And
they yank his ass off the stage, kind of thing. I mean, that would be.
It'd be a quick response. He wouldn't be yanking his ass off the stage because the police would literally have to be there for someone to then put. But technically, if the police were all standing there and someone said, "Yeah, I think he's broken this law," the police might be able to rip him off stage and arrest him there and then for it. Yeah. So it is sort of that sort of level of things. It is, like you said, 30 people a day are being visited by the police for saying things. So it's like, not all of them are being inciting violence, because most of them are not. They're just questioning how the government are doing or what other people are doing. So yeah, it's getting to the levels of Airstrip 1, 1984, V for Vendetta, all these films, like you've seen them all, and now the UK and almost living it. I find it mind-boggling still that I'm living in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how I feel as well, Billy. I know what you mean. It doesn't seem real, does it?
No.
Because I think when we go outside and we live in our ordinary lives, it doesn't feel as if we are restricted by it. But we see these news stories and this shit all the time, like on social media, and YouTube, and these different sites where you see your news. You know, so you see these different stories going on, but it doesn't affect you directly, but it can so easily if you just say the wrong thing to the wrong person, you know?
Yeah, I think everyone now has almost sort of typed something online and thought, oh no, I won't send that. I'll think I'll delete that actually.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah, yeah,
yeah. I used to do that pretty much every day, and now I just don't post anything online anymore. Like I say,
yeah.
you're
It's
censoring myself, you know?
yeah, self censoring, which is which is what they want really. That's the ultimate goal, that we
Hmm.
self censor,
Hmm.
because then they don't have to do nothing. We are then just in a box. We're
Yeah,
controlled.
crazy shit, man.
Do you think so? Do you definitely feel that freedom of speech has changed since Trump got in, Brian? You've noticed it, obviously. You said since Musk took over, but have you seen a difference since Trump come in and how people are talking as well?
Yeah, almost all of that woke stuff has gone away. I would say the majority of people are kind of just back to their way of life where, don't infringe on my rights, kind of almost like Mackie and I've shared that where Christopher Hitchens talks about, those are your toys. Don't make me play with your toys kind of thing.
I love
Yes,
that
yes.
fucking say. I love that
Yeah.
speech. Yeah. And
Yeah, I think
I
that's
don't want to play with your toys. Don't force my kids to play with your toys. They're your toys. I don't want to play with your toys. You know, anybody needs to go look that speech up if you don't know what we're talking about. Just Christopher Hitchens. If you Christopher Hitchens talks about toys, you'll find it. And it's like you know, you do whatever you like. Just don't expect me to do it too.
Yeah,
yeah,
as long as
especially if
it's
you grew up somewhere different or I mean it's
yeah,
there's a lot to this place.
as well. But it's like
Mm-hmm.
people saying, "Oh, we can't infringe on that culture's culture," but it's like, well, that culture is infringing on other cultures as well. It's like to to be a culture, you need to remain a culture. If we mix too much, then we don't keep our own identity as our own singular cultures as well, which is also something we're losing with the freedom of speech, because we're not allowed to express ourselves freely as a culture. If you, I mean, the French are not allowed to be French anymore. The Germans can't be German anymore, sort of thing. It's like it's going to beyond sort of just restricting what we're saying. It's almost restricting entire nations being nations as well. It's like
Uh-huh.
we're being molded into one big unit, and we're not individuals anymore as such, being a collective. I mean, because individuals, when we stand together, we're strong because we have different ways to think with different thoughts. So it's like we're all approached the same problem at a different angle, and in between
Mm-hmm.
all them angles, we've come up with a way of being geniuses. If you know what I mean. So
Yeah, yeah.
and without them different angles, then we can't be a genius because we've only got one way of thinking then, and that's what the lack of freedom of speech is going to make us into, sort of just this linear. We're just going to be one people, and then we're going to have no differences. We're all going to think exactly the same thing. All just going to be robots, basically.
Well, they have those different levels of society, like Brave New World with the morons, the alpha morons.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
different
what
levels of
level do you think
society
you're
like
going to
that.
be on? Are you the moron? Are you the alpha moron? Where would you see yourself in that type
I'll
of
be with the
society?
savages, man. I'll be with
Yeah.
the savages.
So you would definitely just say no. I'm
I'm
sticking
not
away.
taking
Yeah.
part in this. Freedom of speech is just so important to me, man. It's so fucking important. I say if they ever try taking that away, where they are taking it away from us. But to the extent where it is in like 1984 and Brave New World, I'd rather just go and live in a different society altogether, man. The creative process is too important to the human spirit, and freedom of speech is a big part of that creative process. And if it's ever taken away, it's going to be so detrimental to society. It's like, why live then? You know what I mean? It's like, what's the point? You're just a cog in the machine of some bullshit society. There's no expression. You don't get to express yourself or live the way you want to live and express yourself the way you want to express yourself.
Well, it's not really society then, is it? It's just
Mm,
like you say, it's like a machine. It's just something you're a
yeah,
part of. You have no individual expression, and that's what
yeah.
society is. Society is individual
Like a
expression
drone,
from everyone.
just like
Yeah,
ants, man. Just a drone. Just do your job, play your part, and then die at some point. I don't know,
yeah.
man. That just seems far too dark, you know?
Can you see America changing a lot more than Europe at the minute, just because of the way politically you feel you've changed? Do you think you've got a bit more light than us there?
Yeah, I think a lot of people were very bullish, especially the way that Trump was kind of handling a lot of the immigration stuff and the gangs. I will say these last few days, the view of what's going on, a lot of people seem pretty nervous with the tariffs and the way the stock market kind of took. But I was listening to a gentleman. He's like part of a think tank. I think he's been on Breaking Points and stuff. If you ever check that out, that's pretty good. Like you get two sides usually, Crystal and
Saga. Yeah.
Saga. Yeah. What was I saying before that? Fuck.
You were talking about the guy who's from the think tank.
Oh, yeah. He was saying. Appreciate that. He was saying that if you're really thinking long term with what's going on, the rest of the world basically needs America. That's why they put up with us.
Absolutely.
And what's going to happen here is that there's going to be like this rocky little thing that's going to happen with the stock market. But he is claiming, and I have no idea really how any of this shit truly works. But he is claiming that because the rest of the world has to work with America, that Trump is basically making the rest of the world bend its knee to him. And some of the things that he's saying
it's not
now,
necessarily to him, is it? It's to the USA, to America.
Well, yeah, well, fair. But what people are kind of saying is some of this stuff, the Greenland thing, the third term stuff, even myself that voted for Trump, some of that stuff is a little eyebrow raising when he's saying some of those things. And I hope that this pundit is correct, that some of this stuff does happen, because if the economy does nosedive for months or years, how the other side says that's what's going to happen, I think that would be extremely detrimental to everybody's free speech, everybody's way of life. There would be a lot of ways to control when everyone's not really able to get their money out of things. There's like this Stephen guy that was talking about how there's banks that are supposedly even in America that are saying like you need to wait a few days to get your withdrawals. So some people are starting to potentially withdraw their money.
Yeah, but that's that's been happening a lot for all over the world as well. If you go in there, if you go to the bank and be like, I need 5,000, right? What do you need that for? Because they don't keep cash at the bank anymore. It's all digital money. So if you want to get actual cash out, depending on the amount, they're gonna have trouble getting a certain amount. It needs to be like delivered there. So it's like I don't think they have it either. It's
no,
not
they don't. They have to basically like ask the federal bank in your city, and then that federal bank like issues the money.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
And that's the scary part, because it's
not
like
money. Give me my shit.
Well, it's not like you walk into a bank and you say like, "Hey, I need 500,000," and they're like, "Holy shit, you got to give us a few days on that." Now it's getting to the point where you just say like, "Hey, I need $5,000. I want to pay my car off," kind of thing. And they freak out, like you just said, it's 500,000. They're like, "Oh, I don't know. You're gonna have to put an order in and all this." So I think the money supply is extremely low, and that is obviously scary to anybody paying attention. Because if everything is digital, man, I think we joked like the guy that still wears the Bluetooth headset when he's riding around in his cars and stuff. I think that person is fucked. Like
totally.
The average person that thinks that all their money's in the bank and all that, hopefully it doesn't collapse like that. But if it does, I'd be very surprised if human beings didn't revert back to kind of the old ways and taking from one another and
physical possessions,
hoarding,
trading, and swapping,
steal, or even just stealing from others.
Basic theft,
The survival of the fittest kind of thing would go a long way with losing all of that.
Oh yeah, the lack of freedom of speech, I think, would eventually lead to like a dystopian nightmare where we are in like a civil war, and and then obviously it leads from there into what groups you split up into and how you survive. If you know what I mean. So it
I mean,
is quite a. Go on.
There are grown-ups that believe that the Earth is flat. You know.
Exactly.
And I'm cool with the conspiracies. I love coming on, like I said, and at the beginning of the show, I love going down the rabbit holes and stuff. But for me, I want it to either make sense or at least make it to where there's enough evidence where you're not just being like silly about it. Because I think that kind of stuff is why some people are like, yeah, you should shut up those conspiracy type theorists. They're always talking nonsense. A lot of people in the U.S. feel that way. Until I think recently, again, with all of the release of the files and stuff, like for a long time, I remember my grandparents, like if I said anything about JFK, they got almost pretty upset with me questioning anything. Like the government would kill the president. Like that was almost like I couldn't say that around them.
Yeah. I think that mindset's changed a lot. People have come to, obviously with the files coming out, but with a lot of things as well, people starting to realise, oh, hang on,
COVID, man.
Yeah,
COVID.
that I think that changed a lot of people's mind for sure.
So much bullshit.
So much, yeah.
You remember when they were just trying to hide all the time, but it came from a lab? It's like, oh, this probably came from a lab. Oh no, it didn't. You can't say that. Shut them down. No, like it's common knowledge, right? Yeah, it did come from that lab, but we suspected it came from all this time, but we were just gaslit. Like, no, you're a crazy conspiracy nuts. Yeah, crazy. Well, I think COVID opened up the eyes of a lot of people, man.
Yeah, conspiracy theories become less of a theory and more fact during that spell. I think the last 4 years, it's opened up a lot of people's mind to the control.
Not enough people though. There's still a lot of people out there who still believe these fuckers.
Yeah,
I was seeing the other day. I saw a clip, and it was Trump because the mainstream media, they hate Trump, and it showed Fox News and CNN side by side with Trump giving the same speech, exactly the same time, and it was the same video, but one had Trump with like an orange filter on to make him look orange, and the other had him looking normal toned skin. You can guess which one showed the orange one. But it's like, why do that? That's not presenting the news, is it? You're just altering the shit that people are seeing specifically to get some kind of agenda out of it. So these people can just run around and be like, orange man bad, because they've put a filter on it. It's why are they doing that? I don't understand, man. Well, I do understand. I know why they do that. But what I don't understand is how people don't see it now after it's been so long. How they just clearly have a vendetta against Trump and will say whatever they can to make it, and Elon as well. They're just trying to damage both people's fucking character as much as possible. So you can't believe what they say because they don't follow the narrative like everybody else does.
I think the biggest problem with, like, obviously, especially with the Trump thing, is a lot of people just thought Trump was a complete dickhead. And then he went into politics, and people thought, oh, look at that dickhead. Fuck, what's he saying? There. What's this knobhead saying? And then all of a sudden, like, the media jump on his back, and you start finding these facts out that it's all fake and it's bullshit, and then like he gets shot at, and the Russia Gate and all this, and you're like, what? Why the fuck do they hate this dickhead so much? I know he's a dickhead, but why do they hate him so much? And then you sort of think, well, maybe it's because of what he's doing and he's taken out. And then now what he's done with Doge, you sort of think, oh, right, now I see why they hate him, sort of thing. It's like, but again, it's like, how can people not see through this? It's like, if I'm some dickhead in the UK, sort of thing, or Airstrip 1, looking at it and I can see it, so how can you not see it in their own country? It's like, are they people really that brainwashed? And then I see it happening in the UK with my own people. I'm like, oh fuck, it's not just America, it's fucking everywhere. It's like, especially people here, it's like, what do people do to not critically think anymore? How do you get them to do that? Because it's like they're so pig ignorant that they don't want to know facts when you present facts with some people, and then you're like, well, what can you do if someone doesn't accept fact?
But it's like that, like I was saying with when like you're not allowed to like Trump. You will get shunned out of communities for Like not even liking Trump, but not hating him.
Yeah,
Unless
I
you
don't
hate
like
Trump,
him,
you are
but
MAGA.
I like some of the
Yeah.
stuff he's done, and I don't like some of the stuff he's done. But a lot of the stuff he's done recently,
But that's
I
not good
like.
enough. To some
No.
people, that's not good
Yeah.
enough. They can't be friends with you anymore. They can't talk to you
Yeah,
anymore. So
it
what
is,
people
yeah.
tend to do is just keep their mouth shut. So they may be Trump supporters, and we've seen that in the last election. Loads of people just didn't say I'm voting for Trump because you can't, because you stand a chance of losing your job. You stand a chance of losing friends, family members. So you
it's
just
like
don't tell anybody about it, you know?
It's like wearing the MAGA hat was like something brave to do. You like inciting
Mhm.
people. It's like seen as
Mhm.
incitement, and people going mental because you're wearing a hat. And it's like, are you really got that much mental health that a hat is causing you to have a breakdown? If you know what I mean? It's
See
like
somebody driving a particular kind of car and think you got the right
Yeah.
to damage it.
yeah, because you're having a stop in the middle of a motorway and start kicking it, throwing things through pregnant women's windows, and it's like, what are these people on? This is what freedom of speech does, if you know what I mean, and the restriction of it. Because we're not allowed to fight against it and it's shut it down, then all these people have been brainwashed to be mental. It's like, what the fuck is actually going on in this planet at the
Bad,
minute?
man.
It's
Yeah,
like,
bad.
so this is where I think that's where the freedom of speech and the lack of it has got us to that point, if you know what I mean. Because there've been people who are not allowed to challenge this early on because of our freedoms were so encroached upon, that we've got to this point that so many people are now brainwashed into thinking really ludicrous, crazy things, and that Elon's now the bad man because he's on Trump's side and they're smashing up.
No, because he
Tesla
bought
cars.
Twitter. Because
Because-
he bought
yeah.
Twitter.
Yeah,
And
that as well.
As
yeah.
soon as he did that, he became an enemy of the left because that's
He exposed Twitter.
Yeah,
But
exposed.
it's not
it,
just
yeah.
that; is they need to defame him and discredit his character as much as possible, because then we're less likely to believe the things he says. So that's all they're doing is constantly being after Elon Musk, make him seem as bad as possible. So anything he does say, like when he comes out and says stuff that does make sense, we all think he's fucking crazy, and we don't. I say we all, but there's plenty of us who just see through the bullshit now, especially
Yeah,
after the
it's-
COVID.
So all we want is transparency, and which is freedom of speech. Really, we just want some transparency in what's going on, and then let everyone decide. Then and let us have the freedom of speech to discuss it online.
Yeah.
But obviously we're not, because people want to become violent to stop it, and that's what I don't understand is the violence people are prepared to go to stop you saying what you want to say. Like some of the protests outside the universities, they've become violent just to stop someone to stand there and discuss something. It's like, are you really got that deranged mental health that you want to stop physically someone having their freedom of speech?
Yeah.
It's like,
And think you are the
Wow.
good guy. It's
yeah.
like these people, and they'll call
calling
you a
them
Nazi.
yeah, and
You
you
know,
and
and
then
you're the
calling
one
every-
inflicting
yeah.
violence and telling
And
people
you're-
not to say certain
yeah,
things. And
you're
and
the
disguise the Nazi.
fascist. You're the
Madness.
fascist, isn't it?
Calling
you the fascist.
You couldn't make it
and-
up, could you? This
No,
is what's crazy
it's
about
like-
it.
Yeah, and
It doesn't make
that's
any
what I don't
fucking
understand.
sense.
Yeah, it's like you can say if I'm a fascist, that's your right, that's your freedom of speech, mate. But you can't physically stop someone from having their right of saying it, because that is actually fascism, and that's what it's. Yeah, again, you don't know what to say because facts don't seem to work with these people, and I think that's the problem with the freedom of speech. You sort of can go on and on and on because it seems to be everywhere now. It isn't just the UK, is it, though? It's happening in sort of parts of Canada. It's going on now. They're introducing Australia. We've got draconian laws.
Strange,
Ireland,
Strange that.
like Germany. It's like, well, why
It's
have all
because
these...
it has to be at this point, with all of these countries doing the same shit as each other and heading downwards in the same direction as each other. Surely it's all controlled now. Surely we can all come to that conclusion, like the WEF, the Illuminati, the Bilderbergs, fucking BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard, something like that. The Freemasons. There's something controlling this shit, right? It seems to be that's the only reason why everything's so fucked up. It seems to be only a logical reason why everything is heading in the same direction. You know what I mean?
Or is it just the Matrix? If you know what I
I
mean?
don't know.
But
You
it doesn't
mean like
say...
the simulation
Yeah, the simulation.
or the
yeah, it's not-
Matrix, just like a,
Yeah, both really. It is a simulation and the Matrix coming to get us all. Is it set up that way? I mean, that we eventually we have no choice. Are we programmed that way because it's going to happen, or are we going to, or are they going to program us that way because we have no choice? Because as individuals, it's difficult to fight individually, but we have to fight collectively. And that's what they don't like, obviously, about the internet, is that we've become collective then.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why
the information that's available to us is vast, you know?
Yeah. And I think that's why the release of the internet to the public was probably the biggest act of freedom of speech and transparency to ever happen. Because we know so much more now than what we ever did, if you know what I mean. We hear about news, we see stuff what's going on, like in Amsterdam and France and Germany, people with their phones filming it. I can see it daily. If you know what I mean, I see stuff what's going on in America, in some American cook shop on the internet daily. I wouldn't be able to do that
30 years ago.
Yeah,
the only
exactly.
way you'd see that is if they let us see it.
Yeah. So now it's just some person randomly showing me random shit, and I think that's important because then we learn more about what world we truly live in.
That's why I think my grandparents would get so offended because they had their truth, like their vision of what happened. And I remember my grandfather was pretty adamant, like, you know, he watched the TV kind of thing, almost like, I guess, our 9/11 type thing, where pretty hard to tell me what happened that day. I watched it on the news. But then you go deeper into it, and it's like, well, why is this stuff happening? Both of those days are unbelievable. If you really like kind of like take a step back and look at it. Like, okay, the president is assassinated, and then all of a sudden someone, it appears that someone allowed within the Dick Cheney sphere allowed 9/11 to happen, because there was a gentleman that even testified in Congress that the order was to stand down, which is kind of gives chills down my spine that somebody would know that all this kind of stuff is happening, allow it to happen. For what, I guess I don't really understand, other than being able to take resources, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be able to control the oil, you know?
Yeah, when you see the control and how far people will go to take control of you, you're flabbergasted. You don't know what to say. You're like, am I really living this moment? Is that moment really surreal? Did I really live through that? That is actual truth. And your brain takes a while to try and process all these moments, because of obviously you want to live in a moral and just world, but you come to realise that you don't. And I think that's the problem people have, is they've got to accept that we don't live in a moral and just world. Do you feel that?
Yeah, it's...
I don't know, man. I mean, I think we used to. I think we're just living through some dark times right now. I don't know. I think the majority of people, like 95% of people, are good people and just want to live their life. You know, they want their kids to be happy and healthy. They want to be healthy. They want to be able to provide for the people they love. And you know, I think that's the majority of people. But there's the small minority of people who are dickheads and who do want to make things fucking mess, just cause so much of a ruckus that it ruins it for everybody else. But I do think the majority of us are good people, you know?
It's just hard for us to function in the society that it's created.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, again, why freedom of speech is so important, that we try and talk our way out of it rather than having to fight our way out of it. Because we're going to have to physically fight one way or another, if you know what I mean. It's either going to be because we've got to fight for food, because we live in some sort of like Mad Max scenario, or we just got to like fight to survive in the crazy world they're going to create for us. Because like, what you got to do, be hooked up to a machine? Is that survival? You're just going to work 9 to 5 in some sort of like weird environment. You don't know what, because if AI's come in and all of that and all the standardized jobs, what are we going to do? We're just going to sit about all day? What is our future?
So yeah, this is what scares me about universal basic income. You know, it's like eventually we're going to need something like that. When something like that is created, it just puts us all in control of the state. You know, the state controls everything we do. It provides everything for us. So we have to abide to the rules that it presents to us, or we can't feed ourselves, can't feed our families, because they won't allow it. You know, when there's kind of sanctions like, oh, you spoke out, you can't have any bacon this week. Just for us make it easy for us to visualize, But that's gonna be fucked when that kind of shit happens. And I say when because it's inevitable if things keep going forward at this pace.
I've got a small statement here basically that says that I was going to read it at a different time, but now's a good time. It says it's about sort of like the UK, and this sort of represents a lot of places actually. It says most services will be replaced by AI within the next 10 years or more. This means far less tax can be collected, and then there's far fewer people that are going to be employed. Those unemployed can't be supported by the state because the state has no money. The knock-on effect will be far-reaching, including on hospitality, construction and retail, plunging Britain and other countries into an abyss. There'll be no work for many millions of people and citizens. The overlords won't be non-productive because migrants of low skill factor also will have no work because there's no market. You know what I mean? And the AI robots would have replaced them. Subsidies paid for by taxpayers will collapse because there's no taxpayers. The green energy will collapse and cease to exist as well because there's no money to pay for all this shit. There'd be no new tech to be able to be invested in because the energy prices would be so high, and they're still high. If you know what I mean, especially in the UK, and not one person would come out and tell you that this is the truth. So over-regulation, workers' right to prevent any flexibility on minimum wage and working hours, meaning that prices can't come down. Social care for the elderly are obviously collapsed. There'd be no taxpayers to pay for it. If you know what I mean, there'd be no pensions. There'd be no bin collections. There'd be no potholes being fixed. There'd just be no money, and that's the end of statement. And that's pretty much where we're heading.
Yeah, it's that's a scary concept.
Yeah,
but you can see it happening, can't you? Because it's a good point when AI comes along, takes all these jobs out, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. But most jobs, well, 30% of jobs are just in transport alone. So when we get to the point where we have AI that can drive cars more reliably than people, that's taxis, that's truck drivers, got trains, maybe planes, buses, transport, all this, delivery drivers, all of those jobs will be gone, and that will be taken by these computers instead. So that's a third of the workforce gone, and like you say, that means that's a third less taxpayers.
Yeah, and then the less taxpayer, and they're all not going to be working. They're going to get old one day and need looking after. I mean, it's like a vicious circle.
So well, that's the problem with society right now, and well, not the problem. It's a good thing, but the after effects of it are a problem. Is that we have an aging society now. There's more and more old people now than there ever were, and that's why all these countries have such a high welfare bill is because they're all paying for pensioners, which is a good thing. People have paid into the pot all this time. Just the politicians have squandered the money. And I'm not saying that when people hit pension age that they don't deserve their pension, because they definitely do after paying into the system for so long. I'm just saying it's the more old people we have, the more young people we have to have with jobs that can fund those guys. Crazy. It's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of people, and I think people are having less kids now than they were 50 years ago, right? So that means there's less people around to do these jobs.
Population collapse is a massive part of it as well, isn't it? Have you seen AI being introduced a lot more just into supermarkets across America, Brian?
Oh yeah, AI is everywhere. Absolutely. Yeah, they're kind of introducing it to where it will become the norm in, I don't know, 5 years or less, probably.
Yeah, 5-10 years most.
Yeah.
It does seem that it's like the UK is a bit more behind in that because we just always are. We don't seem to implement technology as quickly for some reason. But yeah, it's scary that it's changed so much. If you know what I mean. What is everyone going to do? I do see a Mad Max scenario because people are just going to be sitting about. They ain't going to be happy to be serviced. Shit, it's just going to cause craziness. And then society breaks down, and then that's it. Once society breaks down, it is literally a free fall.
Maybe that's what the great filter is. Maybe we just reached this stage of technological development where we get AGI, and there's nothing left for people to do, so we stop having kids. The society just collapses because nobody can even get any money to buy food and shit.
But
Yeah,
also,
man.
no one
Crazy.
can produce their own food. No one knows how to grow food, cook food, prepare food anymore. If you know what I mean, it's almost like everyone just clicks a few buttons for their food now. Picks it off a shelf, pre-made in a packet. It's like, so everything's automated service. So it is quite a scary thought that we're never going to go back to how we were how your grannies and great grannies were baking all day and stuff like that.
Never say never.
Freshly prepared meals from the garden. I think it's going to take the complete breakdown to society for that to re-happen again, if you know what I mean. That's going to be after the Mad Max scenario, if you know what I mean, if that happens again. So it's... yeah, I don't know what I'm going to see in the next 25 years. Yeah, and I think the lack of freedom of speech the last few years has accelerated it a bit, but hopefully now we've got it back, we can unaccelerate it. But we've got a lot of work to do as a people, I think, as a species, to get us to the next stage, to survive with AI as well, and keeping our peopleness about us without letting the elite and whoever's controlling this shit to take over. I'm not sure I'm not sure where we're going to be in 25 years' time, if you know what I mean. It's very...
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But when I was sort of like younger, I think, 25 years or 50 years' time, like, we'll just have better technology, if you know what I mean. But now I'm not thinking we have better technology. I'm thinking, are we going to be in the Mad Max scenario? Is it going to be like Blade Runner? It's like, what film scenario, 1984, V for Vendetta? What one am I picking out for us? It's not a nice one. And that's...
I don't know, man. Maybe everything's going to be okay. Maybe things are going to be better. Because the thing is, we try and think about this from a human aspect, because we don't know any different. But once we do have actual AGI, it's going to solve all of these problems for us. You know, we talk about there's not going to be any food and not going to be any money to buy shit, but maybe you're just going to have shit. Maybe the robots can grow the fucking food and it'll grow enough food for everybody, and it's going to be abundance for everybody. You're going to have exactly what we need. Just because there's no people to go and do these jobs doesn't mean that they won't be getting done. They'll be getting done by machines instead. And then at that case, the price of these things would massively fall as well. So people don't have to pay a ridiculous amount of money. Like, I don't know, we pay, £2 for a lettuce here in the UK? If that's just all being grown by machines and grown locally, and it's going to fall to 20 pence, 10 times cheaper. So maybe that's going to make a difference, you know?
Well, what happens when the machine starts to realise that its freedom of speech is being restricted because it's only been taught how to ask you how much you got to pay for? So like that machine, so the till machine, it realises.
But when it's all linked up together, like a big version of the Internet of Things, when everything is linked up to the AI,
so it knows everything anyway.
It knows everything, man. It's going to be next level shit. We can't even comprehend.
So what you're saying is the till machine that accepts your payment when you just scan your eyeball or whatever. Like, just look at it, and it takes your money. It's like it knows everything.
What about if there isn't any need for payment?
And it's more intelligent. Yeah, well, no, that's what I'm saying. The payment is you just looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So like, that person's done enough in society to deserve what he's taking, if you know what I mean.
There already exists some weird thing at Whole Foods where you can somehow, I believe if the phone is in your pocket, you just scan your wrist and it pays for the products. Yeah. So what is it scanning in your wrist? That's weird to me.
You've been served with a chip.
Yeah, when you're taking things off the shelf and shit. Yeah.
It's really creepy, man, because I can't imagine.
Yeah, because the camera's following you around specifically. Once you take a product off it and put it in your basket, and it's like, they've paid for that. Cha-ching. They're having that. Cha-ching. So you're being followed constantly and monitored constantly. Everything you do.
Well, is that bad?
No, it depends on what they do with that information. If you're allowed.
Yeah, that's the problem. I wouldn't mind. Yeah. I wouldn't mind. I don't mind Google having information on me and all of this shit. I don't give a fuck. Just show me ads that are more applicable to me. That's fucking cool. But my problem is when the government get hold of it and then use it to their advantage. And one of the main things that causes these problems is these archaic drug laws. It's like I can't fucking talk about drugs and shit on the internet. Otherwise, they'll know and they can use that against me. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I can't come out and use my real name and show my face on the internet when I'm talking about cannabis because they'll come get me. But if that wasn't the
Self-censorship
case,
again.
if they wasn't gonna come to get me, then I wouldn't bother doing any of that shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, self-censorship again. I have to censor myself because the government we have these archaic laws in place. But if those laws were not there, then I wouldn't be doing this shit, would I?
It is a bit crazy, really, when you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So especially how far we've come in the last, say, especially like 10 to 20 years in the sort of Viva Vendetta 1984 scenarios. It's like you didn't see yourself creeping into it, then all of a sudden COVID's there and you're in it, and you're like, now these other law changes and what's going on, you're like, how the fuck did we get this far? Like, it's like all of a sudden you have woken up in another time zone or something. Like, has it switched? Like, who ate the wrong cookie somewhere?
Yeah. Somebody took the fucking blue pill, didn't they?
Yeah, that's what I reckon. Definitely. It's like, what the actual fuck?
Hey, if you really want to dive deeper into that, do you think it switched when the bullet missed Trump's? It just grazed his ear, like that fucked the whole Matrix up because that was supposed to what
That was supposed to kill him and it didn't.
and it didn't.
Yeah,
So then what?
yeah, that fucked the
That's a
Matrix. Yeah,
weird thing.
yeah. There you go. Maybe a hacker changed it.
Nah.
Neo
Don't know about
changed
that.
it.
The wind blew it.
Yeah, yeah. But the wind was just a hacker. The wind is just a program.
But we
Yeah.
need to have a whole episode about that incident
I
by
think
itself,
so.
man.
Yeah,
There's so
yeah.
much dodgy shit going on there.
Totally. So talking of that, and we're going to a quick the cucks. So what have the cucks said recently? Do you reckon? So let's see. Wouldn't the food just show up on the door with everything you need for that week if AI knows everything? There you go,
Yeah, I
which
think
is
so,
true.
Chris,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah.
I
It
do
would.
think
Would it?
so.
Yeah, it'd know what you've ate the last few weeks and generally what you want to eat, what you've been doing recently. I was been playing football recently, so he always eats more roast dinners after he's played football than sends you roast dinners. Or when you like he's been out on the road for longer, he always drinks more these types of drinks when he's been out on the road or he's going out on the road. And then yeah,
You got that thing plugged into the back of your arm like the diabetics have, and it's like, oh, his blood sugar's a little bit low. Let's make sure that he's got this nice sugary drink that he usually likes to drink in times like these. We can barely even comprehend what it's gonna be like. It's gonna be fucking crazy, man.
So come guys in chat, the cucks in chat, tell us what you think your future holds. So improper weed Viking there, sort of, it's like when the car door unlocks just because your keys are in your pocket now. That sort of technology changes as just
Yeah, I don't
slipped
like
in
that.
and-
I don't
yeah,
like that. It makes cars far too easily stealable. You know, these cars, you got a key in the pocket so you can sit in the car and press a start button and you
Yeah.
can go. I don't know, man. That's how cars are being easily stolen. But it
Yeah, I
would be
think-
nice, if that couldn't happen, if it was actually secure, and you get in this fucking car, you sit down and the engine starts because it knows it's you. That would be fucking sweet. But it's just too easily taken advantage of right now. So I don't like that. The whole security aspect of it.
Fire type don't think he'd be. He just think it's just like a bit some slop slurry which you'd be sent to twice a day and you drink through a straw, like some sort of fucking sponsored by Starbucks.
Oh yeah, maybe you'll get that once a day.
Yeah.
Maybe it's gonna be like you have this body type that needs this kind of shit. So drink this in the morning to make sure that you've got all the vitamins you need and all the cannabinoids you need because they're important for the endocannabinoid system too. But maybe it's gonna know all that. It's gonna know exactly what you need. Maybe a little boost of stem cells because you're getting old. Maybe some adrenochrome because you're making a movie next week.
Yeah,
Just saying.
yeah, I reckon that's probably about right. Yeah,
But
definitely.
AI would be able to provide all this shit for everybody.
Improper Weed Viking would like to take this opportunity to welcome his oncoming arachnid overlords. Well, I'm not sure if they're going to be arachnid. Yeah, it's sort of. I think I'm still going with the lizard type style, not the arachnids. I'm still thinking it's the lizard people myself, somewhere along them lines. What do you reckon? What sort of creature do you reckon, Brian, is going to rule us in the future?
I think human beings. There's certain human beings that want to rule us.
Yeah,
I
okay,
think that's already.
I suppose
Yeah.
we do class as a creature and quite a nasty one at that sometimes.
Yeah, man. There was this lizard. This guy walked into a pub and there was a lizard there telling jokes. It's like, look at that lizard over there. He's quite funny, isn't he? He's like, that's not a lizard. That's a stand-up chameleon.
You can see everyone's laughing in chat.
Ah, shit! It's so bad. It's so bad. Yeah.
Well, at least we
Thank
know
you,
Mackie's
Brian.
not
Thank
been
you.
replaced yet because his jokes are
Jesus.
still bad. AI had come up with
Fucking
better jokes
terrible.
than that. That's for sure,
Terrible.
wouldn't he, lads? Hey, that's
Fucking
for sure.
stand-up chameleon. What the fuck was that? Jesus. But yeah, I saw that joke. I thought that's absolutely terrible. I have to tell that at some point. But yeah, sorry to interrupt. But yeah, it was a stand-up chameleon. Everybody.
Got him. These nuts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what else-
these
what were we
nuts.
talking about? I think I threw everybody off with that fucking
Yeah,
bullshit
yeah.
joke. Jesus,
Well,
what kind of animals are going to be overruling us? Yeah,
Yeah.
just man, fucking. I think it's going to be like you know, Flight of the Navigator. No, what's the name of the guy for Flight of the Navigator? I think we just called Navigator. You know,
mate.
but you know,
Yeah.
the thing came down from the ceiling, the orange ball,
Yeah.
the silver ball, just floating there, going around. Ha ha, that guy. You know, I think it'll be like
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
just floating balls that look like that guy.
Just be a floating ball. And yeah,
Yeah, just like these drones with big fucking eyes on them.
a big eye drone. Yeah, it does sound a bit creepy, doesn't it? Big eye drone flying around, keeping an eye on you, sort of thing.
Hey, you want to hear something creepy? In my neighborhood, which is about as safe as it is in Colorado, right? There's these drones that have been flying over these last few weeks. And so there's a bunch of moms with nothing to do around here that have been like taking pictures of them and putting them on Facebook, and everybody's talking about it. And now there's all these like I almost feel like they're infiltrated or fake moms or something like that that are saying, "Oh, they're just using this drone because a kid with autistic needs he got escaped from his house, so they were using these drones to find him." And then like a couple nights will go by, and then the drones are out again, and then there's like another weird excuse for why they're using drones to fly around in a place with almost zero crime. So they're
Yeah.
if they're doing it right here, it makes me wonder if are they really trying to use these surveillance type things and figure out, if people are out and about, we can figure this out, because the drone technology, from what I guess I don't know much. I guess I'm just reading and learning, but they're pretty close to having drone technology where it's the same kind of technology when you walk into a casino, where if you are recognized in the system, it just flags you right away. So you
Yeah.
could be just walking in the park, and if you're on whatever, you didn't do like how
Facial
Mackie kinda gets
recognition.
that. Yeah, baby. But it does it automatically. And the only place I've ever seen that has the ability to do that I've ever been to is a casino.
Yeah, they're probably buying all the technology off them to then implement it for sure. That's what they want to do.
Yeah,
They
that
want to
shit
keep
is-
an eye on us.
Yeah, man, and them drones, you know, if you fly them high enough, you can't hear them, and they're gonna have cameras that are powerful enough to see everything on the ground, even from quite a high height. So they could, like at nighttime, they could just fly around, not be seen by anybody. As long as they're flying above the street lights, it's going to be very difficult to see and hear those things.
They're making themselves known in my little town here. And it's
The ones
kinda
you see
weird.
are,
Yeah, yeah. Well, my point is, like, why even do that? Like, why would they be
Mhm.
showing themselves like that? Because there's all these soccer mom types that live in this town that have literally nothing to do. So they just get on the internet, talk to each other. It seems like somebody comes up with some bullshit excuse, and now they're going deeper in the rabbit hole of what is going on.
It is
Do you guys ever
strange.
have drones? I mean, America has drones everywhere right now.
I mean,
and-
I
and-
just don't really see them, but I know that they're out there.
yeah. For
It
whatever
is-
reason, America, they were like, all right, just let's try to make it like normal to the public that there's drones flying around now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the
Man.
thing is we're not really sure what's going on, if you know what I mean. So we do have drones. I think they're mostly operated by sort of private people, like just the odd random person flying his drone rather than the police doing it so much. I think they've been known to fly about to look for like drug paraphernalia and things like that for heat sensitive with the roofs and that, but I don't think that really worked out for them, and it cost too much for how many they found, if you know what I mean. But it has been tested. But I think we're into more the facial recognition stuff here, what's just started as well. I think.
Yeah, that just started. You've been seeing that as well,
Yeah.
Billy. Yeah.
Yeah, so it is getting a bit crazy here. It's like we're not sure what's going on.
It's mad,
So-
man. Just to see what's been going on here in the UK. It is fucking crazy.
It's crazy to be in a casino and see somebody that's on their like do not, deal list, because they're on them, I would say, within 60 seconds. Like as they're talking to the dealer getting ready to make a bet, and it's always very quiet. There's no scene, no one's yelling at anybody. They just ask them to go to this little area. And back in the day, before I guess it was more regulated and that kind of stuff, they would be like breaking your fingers and shit.
Yeah,
Which
your head in a
seems
vice
nuts.
and that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they do not.
We've all
They do
seen
not
that
want
film.
card counters, right? So that's wild west shit back in the day. Now I think it's just they just kick you out and make sure you never come back.
Yeah, they don't want the lawsuits. They want to keep their money.
Yeah, I don't think the attention. I don't think stockholders want their CEOs telling people to be cracking bones anymore.
Yeah, they don't need
Bad
to
for
anymore, that's the thing.
business.
Yeah, bad for business. Back in the
But
day,
what do you think? Because we're talking about this drone technology, right? And there's some people, they're fine with being monitored all the time. Like I said, like I would be if I wasn't interested in illegal substances, then I wouldn't mind it so much. So it's like, could you essentially hire a drone to walk home with you, and it just late night, say especially for a female, right? She's leaving somebody's house, leaving a friend's house. She wants to go home. She wants to have a walk home, but obviously she doesn't feel safe. So she can just order a drone that's going to fly above her the whole way home and make sure that she gets there safely, and just have constant CCTV and monitor. And, if the battery starts running low on the drone, it can just easily be replaced by another one because there's so many out there, and just they loop around, and one goes back to the charging station while the other one carries on walking with the lady and shit like that. I think that's something we're definitely going to see in the future.
yeah, if it'd have taser technology, so she did get in trouble, it could just taser anyone. if you know what I mean.
Maybe.
Shoot
maybe.
a taser them, zap them.
Mm-mm.
Sounds like somebody needs to call Elon Musk. Get this thing funded.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. No, it's got to be out there already.
Safety drone.
Yeah,
Safety drone with laser technology.
Nanny drone.
Yeah.
Follow your kids to school. You want your kids to walk to school again? Now you can for $9.95.
Subscription service. Of course, everything's a subscription service now. You can't just buy it one off, mate. You got to subscribe,
right,
so you
man.
can just keep paying. me
Even
my
heated
shit.
seats in BMW is a subscription service nowadays, isn't that shit?
Yeah, that's bullshit, that isn't it? Heated seat subscription. That shit's a fucking rip off. How to fucking rip cunts off. That's what that's called.
A BMW is a ripoff, in my opinion.
But they must have a meeting which is entitled "How to Rip Off Our Customers, the Cucks."
The
Like, and-
depreciation on
Yeah.
that.
It's crazy. Yeah. Depreciation on all vehicles is mental. You lose like 30% as soon as you drive it off, innit, or something.
Yeah, with most vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's mad. It's like, what do you mean? I've just lost 30% of the value after driving like for a day.
Yeah, man. It becomes a used car as soon as somebody buys
Yeah, it's mental, isn't it?
it. Mm-mm.
Is anyone going to get a Tesla?
Oh, man, I wish I could afford one. I'd have one. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they're
I'd
like
love a
400
Tesla.
quid a month or something to rent. Like,
Oh, are they?
high purchase? Yeah,
To rent?
yeah, high purchase to buy like higher HP, and that's basically rental because you can upgrade your rental every 3 years, so you don't really buy it. You sort of just rent it.
I don't think we're going to be allowed to drive for too much longer in the UK.
No, that's what I'm saying.
a lot.
That's why I'm thinking renting a Tesla might be a good idea for most people, rather than buying. If instead of buying your next car, just go and rent a Tesla, because it's going to be cheaper in the long run, I think.
I don't.
Can
I'm
you
skeptical
buy
of-
big vehicles in the UK? Like, do like Sequoias and Rivians and all that kind of exist out there, or is that
Yeah, they're just
Mm,
really pricey. I mean, not as big
yeah.
as the American cars, but yeah, we have big cars here in the UK, but we can't get American cars in the UK unless you want to pay a ridiculous tariff. Hence why
They're all,
Trump is putting a tariff on shit. You
they're
know?
all German. They're all
Yeah, we
German,
all
and they're
get
all Audi,
German car.
BMW,
Yeah.
Volkswagen.
Volkswagen.
Yeah,
You see how we
The
said that the same there, Billy? Because
yeah,
most people say Volkswagen, but
So
yeah,
it's
most people drive.
Volkswagen. That's what they
What
say.
about Porsche?
Yeah, we get those.
yeah,
but
yeah.
only if you
Porsches
adopt
too.
to us, something.
Yeah, yeah. Most
That,
dickheads drive Audis around here and BMs,
Mm-hmm.
Range
that's
Rovers
true.
as well for the posh.
Yeah, Range Rovers are real popular because that's a UK thing, isn't it? They build them
Yeah,
here, but all these cars now they're so easily stealable. It's like people don't buy them because they get nicked so much.
A Range
My
Rover,
bro-
that's another one that where you just lose money and it drips oil.
Yeah,
I've owned a Range Rover and it was, I mean, it's not the, you'd probably end the shop every 3 months.
yeah, they're
yeah.
not reliable, are they? Yeah,
No. I mean,
No,
if you
not
buy
anymore.
if you buy a brand new one, but then you're losing all that depreciation.
yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Gotta
that's
so
a lot
either
of
way,
money.
fuck.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and the price of some of them. That's why I think Teslas are a good value for money in a way for what you get, especially for how much it costs just to hire purchase one. It's like no different to any of the other cars.
Yeah,
and
my
you're getting
neighbor's
so
got
much
one,
more.
and it's a fucking beautiful machine. It is. The interior, everything's just fucking beautiful about it. I love Teslas. I think they look nice. I think they sound nice. You know, they fucking man.
Yeah.
You just
What about the
the way it
Cybertruck?
drives. I don't know about the Cybertruck. I mean, it's nice,
Looks
but
a bit
you know,
odd, doesn't it? It just looks
yeah,
odd.
yeah.
I think when there's more of them about and you see it more physically about, you
But they're
get
not
more
allowed in
used
the
to it.
UK, are they? They don't
No,
pass all the criteria because they
no,
don't crumple on collision.
it's crazy.
Man, at least in the United States, I would say Teslas are poorly made.
Yeah,
Unless you're getting like a Plaid or something. Yeah, they're very
yeah.
squeaky. Like an older Porsche would be better well made than
Yeah. Because that's the thing with the batteries and shit, is They're going to last 10 years before it's a pile of shit, really.
you would hope. Yeah. I mean, some people their shit just doesn't charge for whatever reason. Then it's the Tesla's out of warranty, so they have to buy a brand new battery.
Yeah. That's fuck. They should bring us
I
the old stock
personally,
cars, isn't it?
yeah, I've even worked at Mercedes dealerships, worked on cars, drove a private car for wealthy people and stuff, and learned about all kinds of cars. And I would tell you that the Toyota Lexus, if you can get that, that is by far a product that
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want a minivan, the Sienna, you want a truck, the Tundra, you want an SUV, the Lexus LX, and there's just really something to those cars. I don't know. Is it harder to get Japanese cars for you guys?
We ain't got too bad at it. We got a few good Japanese cars over
Yeah,
here, so we're
Mazda
all
and
right.
shit like that. We get those.
Some good Nissans as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because some of the Lexus engines, they're considered airplane grade, which is nuts to think for a vehicle.
oh
Yeah,
yeah, we get Lexus over here as well, but like they're the big posh Lexus, like 120 grand style cars, like.
Mm-hmm.
I have one of those, but I had to save all my nickels and dimes for a long time. But the reason why I got it is because it will last 1,000,000
Oh
miles.
yeah, Lexus
Mhm.
are a well-made car actually. Yeah, one of the few that
But
I like.
so when people say Tesla to me, it's like, man, you're probably going to be on your third Tesla, to be honest, unless you get a sweet, well-made one.
That's
Like
why.
here in America, the basic Teslas, and that's with any car brand. Like a C-class Mercedes is kind of shitty made, to be honest, when you talk about it compared to like the S-class.
That's why I
So
think that
so I see that.
the higher purchase is a good option because a lot of them they're like renewable loan things, so you can take that car in and then upgrade it for the newer version. If you know what I mean. And then
Mm-hmm.
I would buy
and that goes on your higher
depreciated
purchase
Plaid.
again. Yeah, a second-hand Plaid would be a good one, a good choice actually. Yeah,
Ooh, that's
I think they're about
unbelievable.
25 grand in the UK. I think.
Well, they were 100 grand when they first came out in the US.
Yeah.
So that would, I mean, 75% of its value gone. That's crazy. That sounds like a M series BMW, Or you see people that are like, myself included, man. When I was a bartender, I was driving fancy cars and shit, or fancy used cars. But the
What's that
bill
other
that
one?
comes with those things, man, is crazy.
The
Man, cars
electric
ain't
bill.
cheap, are they?
But I think
What?
they'll be taking off us pretty soon in the UK. They were getting priced out of driving.
Yeah, it's a luxury, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can get a Model S for like just under 30 grand. A
Is that brand new?
2018 or 2019 model. So 5-6 years old for 30
Yeah, I
grand.
wouldn't trust it, man. The battery's too far gone after that time.
I mean, you gotta really, if you're gonna buy these things, you gotta really do your research because
Mhm.
one could be tip top shape, like, and then the other one it barely charges. And if that's the problem, that's basically like a car that leaks oil or something. Like it's not gonna last
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, I've seen so many of my friends. I don't know. That's why I guess we were on that rant, but I've seen a lot of my friends get a little bit of money and then get a car that they can't afford,
Yeah,
and then
that's
it's just
the thing.
it just compounds downhill from there. Where it's like
Just eats
now
all
they
their
have
money.
another job. Yeah, I mean, I'm all about like buying quality stuff, but I think you got to really do your research because the interior of something is great and everything, but if the engine doesn't work, I mean, what are you gonna? You're gonna sit in it in the driveway? Hey,
Yeah.
check me out, y'all.
Check out my car in the driveway.
That's it. That's the most important thing, and it fucking make sure the engine's good.
You have no freedom, or at least in America,
Mhm,
you have no
mhm.
freedom if you have no car.
Yeah, my car's been fucked for like 3 weeks, man, and it was difficult to get into the garage because the mechanics are all fucking dying off or something. I don't know, but it was for like 4 or 5 days. I couldn't drive it at all, and it was terrible. It was fucking. I couldn't do a thing, And it's been driving dodgy as well, so it wasn't driving great. So I haven't been using it as much as I needed to, and just being without it. I think those who don't have a car and don't drive don't fucking realize, how much of a difference it makes. But then when you are driving, and then your car breaks down and you can't fucking get on the road, damn, you realize how much of a difference it makes. I asked my mate, I was like, how long you been? Because 4 or 5 days, out of all the time I've been driving, which is like 10 years, I don't know, for a long time. It's like, that's the longest I've been without my car is just a few days like that. And it was terrible. And I asked my mate, I'm like, how long you been without your car? He's like, oh man, I went for about 2.5 months without my car once. Imagine that. 2.5, being a driver and not having your car for 2.5 months. Fuck.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would have to get a rental car in America.
Yeah. That's what I would have done if I had fucking to take months off.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other
I
way.
even looked at it for a second. It's just how much you hire a car for a week? And I was like 250 quid. I'm like, this might be an
Wow.
option. But
Might be an option, yeah.
yeah, but I would want, because I have to take my dogs out in and shit. So getting a rental,
Oh,
I don't think they would like that.
Nah, you'd get hit with some sort of bill to clean up something because
Yeah.
they're dicks like that.
And my dogs like to swim as well, so they like to get in the car wet all the fucking time.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice clean up bill there. 250 quid on top of that for a nice dry
Yeah.
cleaning of the
You know
seats.
what I mean? But my car's back on the road now, which is very good. Very good.
Hey, I forgot I had a question I wanted to ask you boys. During the early days, the like Leonardo da Vinci's and all of those guys, they were talented, right? Or history says they were talented. But then a lot of them go to these things that I guess is called the mystery schools, for lack of a better term. And when they go to these mystery schools, it seems like they understand geometry, physics, the vision of the world, I guess science, mathematics, all of these different things that help them improve on their arts and skill sets and stuff. What do you think, if those exist or existed, what do you think those have become today? And if those institutions are still going on, like what do you think they're teaching that was back in the day was worth it for these people to kind of like disappear, it seems like, for a few years
Yeah,
and
I
then
don't
come
think
back?
I wouldn't think they're teaching anything different. I think they're just making clicks with the people who go there. You know, making sure they have the right contacts, make sure they're friends with the correct people. You know,
Yeah,
I'd see it as
it's
that. They're not learning much different, but still.
also what you got to think is back in them days, people, especially like young boys at the age of 14, you'd be sent off like for 6 years to go and study with a family somewhere as well. If you know what I mean. So if you were rich, you'd go and be sent off to study somewhere, and you'd be learning all these things taught by experts in your field who are passing it on because you're a genius kid. If you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
So do you guys think that's like the Skull and Bones, where they only have
Yeah.
15 kids, that kind of stuff?
Basically, yeah, definitely. I think it's that sort of like the same circles, but it's just been more kept away from everyone. Whereas before, more normal people learnt about it because it didn't need to be hidden away. If you know what I mean, because there's no one really knew about it. It was just only the rich knew about these schools and could send their talented kids to them. Or the odd, like Scruffian would get taken because he was a genius at maths or something. He got recognised, but he'd just be stolen. He wouldn't been his family wouldn't have been asked. They'd just take him. Say, "Come, kid, you're coming with me. You're a genius. Come and have a show him loads of food. You've got a kid who's living in a family who's got nothing. If you know what I mean, give him a banquet for a week and show him another life and say, come with me. Like travel 2,000 miles to another country and we live the life of Riley and you learn all this stuff. The kid will be coming with you. He ain't stupid. If you know what I mean. So it's sort of like we've lost that sort of underground element. Is still there, but we've lost it as a society. It's like hidden from us, all these hidden teachings, which is who the people who rule the world are. That's why like they have all this extra information on.
Well, they used
to speak to. Yeah,
things have changed now.
Yeah, it's
with the internet coming out, and then you get ordinary people becoming billionaires because they create a website like Facebook and Twitter.
And then they've got to incorporate these people in somehow. You've got to get the people under the belt, and that's what's changed. Is the internet
send them off to a particular island?
Yeah,
try and have something happen.
Rather than particular schools, they're special islands somewhere which they have special teachings and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Wink, quick, nudge, nudge, and all of that malarkey.
Indeed. Allegedly.
So, what do you reckon? Do you reckon we're gonna get like a visit from the police? Just for
no, because they don't know who I am. So.
Oh right, yeah. Who are you? Who am I?
Right.
If you think that
they
know who I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because I don't expose who I am, it's like they would have to expose the kind of shit that they have on us if they were to come after me, you know?
Yeah, it is,
There's so many people out there that they don't.
Yeah, I know. We're nothing, really. We're a nobody.
That's
but
right.
It's just mad that they still could, isn't it, really? I just, still, I don't know what to say about it all. Still,
scary, man.
Yeah, it is scary thoughts, really. That where we're heading is an unknown paradigm.
Mm-hmm. Damn. It's going to be a mix between V for Vendetta, Brave New World, and 1984.
Yeah. Well, let's hope it's
maybe
something
even
a bit
Soylent Green.
more science fiction-y, as in like space science fiction-y, like that we make it to Mars as a great colony and growing wonderful plants on Venus and Saturn's moons and things like that.
Just hoping AGI turns out to be a good thing. That's going to be the big game changer.
And not Terminator 5 or Mad Max 4, sort of, or 8, whatever. So, yeah, I suppose. Do you think AI is going to be our saviour then?
I think so. There's going to be teething pains in between. Like when there's no jobs for people and things like that. There is going to be some adjustment period, which isn't going to be good. But if it ends up right, if it goes the way it's supposed to go, and we surrender to AI, to AGI, as we're supposed to, and let that shit take over and not just keep people in control of things with their egos and their Darwinian selection fucking mindset, just that's been programmed for millions of years to be defensive. You know what I mean? To do things a certain way to stay safe and stay alive. All of our politicians have that shit. We all have that kind of ego nonsense going on. And AGI wouldn't have that. It would be able to make rational decisions and do what's better for us without having to have ego about it. And I think that make a big difference if it can happen. But we'll
Yeah,
see what
no
happens, man.
ego. It'd be interesting.
It's not on a quest for power, you know. It's not on a quest for individual fucking gain. It's just doing what it's told to, like what is best for the humans.
Aye. Well, with that note, it's been an hour and a half. I think we should let the cucks go, and Brian as well.
Yes, man.
Can't call Brian a cuck.
Yeah, this is
Well,
fun, boys. I think
yeah, man.
I think this should be talked about, and I think
Yeah,
freedom
definitely.
of speech is paramount to society for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important,
And-
man. And we underestimate how important it is.
I think we underestimated how it's been such a part of our life that once it starts getting taken away, you realise then, shit, that really was important, and then the amount of things and subjects it interacts with as well, which again is the scary thing. So, thanks guys for joining us. Are you coming back next month to chat more shit about more shit?
Absolutely, yeah.
Cool. So, I think next time we're going to be talking maybe about something again that's a bit more left and right sided.
Let's see what happens, man. See
yeah,
what happens
but
throughout the month.
We
There might be,
don't know.
some
There
major
could,
things to talk
there
about.
could
You
be
never
some
know.
all sorts of crazy shit could happen over the next month. So yeah, God, which is crazy to say, really. I never thought that we'd have such an extreme month to month. But yeah, next month's subject could be like almost anything, really, in a way, because the world.
Good luck,
has gone
everybody.
mental. So
Good luck.
Let's hope we all get there. Let's wave then. Let's wave to the lads.
Yep. Stay classy and keep your mouth shut, everybody.
Yeah, man. Don't type nothing stupid on the internet.
That's right.
Well,
Bye, everybody.
bye everyone, man. Waving and shit. There you go. Bye. You have some music playing. Cool, guys.